Hello, hi again. This video is going to touch on the topic of trying to get to where you want to get to go with what you don't like. So, I've been thinking about what success means. See, when I start to talk about anything that truly means something to me, like my views on life, my views on success, what happens is that there is always a part of me that wants to undermine those views as if they aren't real because no one else has voiced that it was something that they also felt. Because someone other than myself hasn't voiced out their opinion on whether what I am thinking about is correct, then that means that my thinking is not correct. Success isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be made of hard work, and it's not supposed to be something as that of a miracle, because that's just not how it works. That's what I have been trying to tell myself. But the thing is, there's also a part of me that believes truly that if success was really meant for me, the hard work that I'm thinking about wouldn't be as hard as I make it seem. See, with poetry and with writing, what happens to me is it's never really hard and it's never really something I have to fight for. I have the freedom to write, and so I write. I have the ability of articulating what I think, so I articulate it. And did I do hard work so that I could get to that point of doing that? Of course. But the thing is, what does success mean to me if not for the hard work? Success isn't really a point in time where everything happens. It truly is how I feel when I do the thing that makes me get to that point where I think success will be at. The journey is what I want to be successful in. The journey where I have thoughts of wanting to undermine myself and wanting to doubt myself and telling to myself that I am not worth doing what I'm doing, that I shouldn't write, that I shouldn't write poetry. Like, for what? For who is going to read it? Why would my average being's thoughts be any use to the world? Like, why? Right? But you know what's successful is if I am able to be with these thoughts and to not neglect them, but to take them along with me and still believe in the calling that success was meant to be easy. That act of still persevering, of still not giving up, and as also the thing is, you need the light and the darkness. Success isn't a miracle. I know that, because if it was a miracle, I wouldn't be working for it right now. So I can't undermine the fact that it's not a miracle, but I can use this fact and I can use this as this is something that I have to take along with me, and this is something I can use for my benefit. So the light I want, and the light I have, the lightness and the goodness that I have, goes hand in hand with all these negativity and all of the projections that people put onto me, and all of the projections I put onto myself, from myself and from the society, and everything that has tried to write me off from what I love. All that negativity and all that beliefs that I have in me go hand in hand. I can't ignore that. Ignorance isn't really a blessing. It's a trap. It's something that takes me away from where I'm meant to be right now. And even though I feel like I do not need success, I can't not need success. You know why? This doesn't. Okay, so what I'm saying right now is for everyone. Like, even if you do not want to have success in your career or success in your way of communication or whatever you think your success is like, that is not success. And that's a bold statement to make, but truthfully, to get to that point of feeling like you are successful, the journey first is what you have to master, right? Because if you do not master that, you won't get to that point. So what is mastering the journey? It's taking the negativity and still persevering. And it's not just that, it's also like being okay with loving yourself enough to the point that you trust that you will get to that point where everything works out. And even when everything doesn't work out, even when you feel like you can't depend on any money, even if you feel like you are alone, you are lonely, it's still loving yourself to the point where you recognize that you're trying to make yourself feel claustrophobic. You are trying to do that to yourself, and that must feel like it is that feeling of you trying to annoy yourself, you trying to give up, has to be fearful for you. You should love yourself to the point where you trying to take away yourself from where you must be right now should be so fearful to you that you have no choice but to love yourself and to sit with that fear and still get through that fear, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if you know that you don't communicate well, right? You don't blame yourself for that. When you catch yourself blaming yourself for not communicating correctly, you should feel like you did a mistake. You should feel regretful of making you feel like you are not worthy of communicating at all. That should be fearful for you. That fear came from the love that you have for yourself. Because if I were to love a pet, right, I wouldn't want it to feel regretful of the fact that it is the way it is. I would want it to feel loved for the way it is, and I wouldn't want it to feel annoyed by itself or feel like it has to be something else. No, like, I would love it to the point that from that love, it will start to realize that it is worthy, right? Like, success is that. Success is loving yourself to the point where the lightness and the darkness in you are pillars for you, are so essential for you that you get to use these things, use yourself, and propel yourself so fast to the direction that you're willing to go. Another example is in studying, right? If you really can't focus right now, which was me a year back, then I am not going to blame myself for not focusing. And blaming myself for not focusing is me not loving myself and not asking myself, what do I want to change for this? If I loved myself really, truly, I would change something, anything in my capacity right now. I would do anything for myself to feel much more safer in studying, to feel much more safer such that I wouldn't want to push myself or be anyone other than myself while I study. That's the amount of love I have for myself, and you should have that too. So, then what happens is, since I've acknowledged the pain and the hurt and the darkness with this fact that I can't focus, I can also now acknowledge the fact that I am allowed to believe in myself, that I can, that I have the light, and that I can remember the parts of myself that I had a while back that was very, very locked in, right? So these two things aren't phases. Once you get to a point of going through pain and going through the overwhelm of all the feelings of human life, once you get through all of that, you get to a point where you just have to accept the fact that both have to go hand in hand and there is no other way. This is what success means. And once you accept the fact that this is success and you work yourself and work for yourself to propel yourself forward with all of yourself, that is when you get to the point where the physical reality, where everything, your marks or whatever you want, starts to add up, starts to show itself to you, starts to make yourself realize that you actually have got successful. So, what do you need to do, really? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what you need to do. But the thing is, I just think that we could start to believe that everything that is happening right now to us and everything is going to happen will not be how we imagine it to be, because success isn't how we imagine it to be. It's always in the journey. So whatever is thrown at your life right now, it's for a reason, and more than that, it's truly just strengthening your ability to feel pain and strengthening your ability to feel your shadows and sit with the darkness that you have. Because in the end, one the most people aren't able to feel their darkness and feel their light. Like most, how do I tell this in a way that makes it understandable? Your shadows and what you like about yourself have to go hand in hand, and life will always make you realize that you aren't as humble as you thought you were, you aren't as good as you thought you were, you aren't who you thought you were. And life will make you understand these things, it will ingrain these things to your brain, it will trigger you, because that is how you strengthen how you see yourself, how you see that darkness within you. So life has to do this for you, because this is how you master your journey, this is how you get successful, by being strong enough to hold all of yourself, to know what it feels like to feel pain, and still get through it, and still move on without force in the end. Because those two things that you get to be triggered by life are what, they are your friends, and they are not going away. Your flaws are not going to go away. So yeah, I was talking about what do. You just trust that whatever life is trying to trigger you for is because you must be strengthened even more in seeing yourself. Everything that you blame others is what you should see in yourself, because that is probably what you lack as well. So everything is a reflection of you, and whatever is trying to make you feel triggered is just you having to be stronger than that trigger, and to look at it in the face and tell it that this doesn't have power over me, because I am in control, and I am going to be able to be strong enough to make this into a pillar so that I can be successful. Yeah. Okay, so the background. Can we just talk about the background? It's so dark. Why is it so dark? it isn't that dark in real life actually. But yeah, it isn't that dark in real life. It's going to get better. So thank you for listening to me until this point. I talk about these things. I like to talk about what it really feels to live and how influential you can be to yourself by believing in life. So, if you are inclined to be a part of our community here, kindly start showing up and showing up for yourself and loving yourself even more, because ultimately that is the success that you can gain from your life, and you are worthy of that. Trust me.